Shalom Chavrim, I'm Steve Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Finally, 4 days of dealing with stuff we had in storage. Getting that all out has finally come to an end. My body feels like I've been beat up, quite frankly. You know, we used to own a delivery business years ago, but my body is definitely not in shape for what I just went through. Anyway, it's all done. Thank God for that. And now we can really buckle down and get serious, especially as the weekend is coming up here, getting you guys back in the loop, everything that is going on, as well as some specialized broadcasts we want to be doing. Also, a reminder before we get into the news here, if you go to hpccenter.com, that's H as in Henry, P as in Paul, C as in Charlie, center.com. You can come here to Hunters Point Celebration Center. And of course, this is the very website you need to go to be able to register for the conference in Lebanon, Tennessee. That happens to be right there in the Nashville area. Kind of blow this up on the screen for you guys. So it says right here, Hunters Point Celebration, 2232 Hunters Point Pike, Lebanon, Tennessee, 14th and 15th of September. Doors open on Friday at 6 p.m. The meeting begins at 7. Then we also have seventh door opens at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. Different meetings we'll be holding the following day. I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss this event. Now, Friday evening, I will be doing a special teaching for the season focused on Yom Kippur, a little bit ahead of Yom Kippur, but a message about Yom Kippur. And then we will be getting into those inside information, my time in the intelligence community. And I'm sure that'll be a blessing to many of you to know exactly what really goes on in the government. And I can tell you, this particular broadcast, or excuse me, this particular event there, you're going to find out about information that'll shock you. I mean, campaign contributions, illegal money laundering, drug running, government all involved in that, all covered up, even people that had been taken out to silence these people by CIA operatives. And of course, covered up even as high as the President of the United States in 1990. Well, just figure out your math and you'll know who that is. And I think if you go a little further down the road, around 2000, you might find out there was someone that got rewarded handsomely for that cover-up that was done when they began to run for president. Won't speak about any names at this time. We're going to also share with you how serious it is in the evangelical community and how they're taking the Christian people to the New World Order, and you're just being led away like sheep to the slaughter, have no idea of what's really going on. The cover-up that I know about personally behind that as well. And that may give you a little bit more insight why I'm a bit concerned, as well as a couple of friends that I had in the Mossad that had shared with me that close relationship that Israel has with the Vatican. Yeah, we're going to be exposing a lot of things that they don't want you to know about. And believe me, then you'll maybe have a better understanding of why we don't take these things lightly that are happening in the Middle East right now. This is why we see a Jesuit conspiracy in Israel, and why we are sick and tired of watching this be covered up and the Jewish people being duped. I mean, think about it. The Jewish people in Israel today, the house of Judah, they're waiting for the coming of the Mashiach, the coming of the Messiah, their eyes to come open, while all the while, everything that is going on in the political arena, both the United States and Israel and other places in the world, is to bring about a new world order and to bring about a false Christ, an antichrist to Israel, to get them to believe that. And then maybe you might understand why we have become so critical about the things that we see that are happening in Israel. You'll have a much better perspective on that if you come to this meeting there in Lebanon, Tennessee. They do have limited seating, so believe me, you want to reserve now. There will not be seats available much longer. So definitely get with them. It says here to register for the Ben-Nun September conference, just go to our contact page, send us an email with your full name and the number of your party attending the conference. If you will be attending only for Friday or the Sabbath meeting and the whole weekend, please specify which day you will be attending. And I guess that's important for the number of people that can attend maybe part but can't attend the other part. All right, now let's get right into the news, things that are happening. We're going to kind of be brief this evening. I will be running a couple of messages tomorrow. I will be starting with Patreon in the morning as I prepare the message for Patreon, speaking about where Paul says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. I got some interesting thoughts on that. I can't say that it's 100% accurate. I'm just simply saying thoughts to share with you that I think you might find interesting as well. All right, what's going on over in Idlib? This is really becoming a showdown. This is Idlib right here, Aleppo. This is Turkey where it comes down. Of course, we're looking at Syria. The color-coded map is showing you where the government has their stronghold, which is in this particular color right here. We are also looking at the Kurdish region in yellow. We are looking at the Turkish who has invaded Syria and has this area here. And of course the Syrian opposition, mainly it's Al-Qadea that is in the blue area right here. And the Turkish government is backing this part of the region. This has become a very intense battle. They've been launching grad rockets towards Latakia. Latakia, which, let me see if we can see, here we go. Latakia is right over here where the forces here are battling towards on the southern part of the region there. The rebels have been using the grad launchers trying to hold on, and you have to remember, in Idlib, this is where all the different soldiers that have surrendered, they all went to Idlib. Every time they say, I want to go to Idlib, I want to go to Idlib. Well, now they're fighting for their lives to keep that area, and Turkey is helping them to maintain it. Now I'm going to tell you something straight up. You know, we keep seeing this little rift between the United States and Turkey. I think that's all for show for the public. See, they do that in order to make you think that the United States and Turkey are really at odds. That way, Turkey can arm the Al-Qaeda members, and the U.S. looks like the good guy, like, no, we're not for Turkey after all, when in reality, we're probably helping funding all this money that goes to the Al-Qaeda insurgents there. I mean, after all, we're funding the white helmets. And they are doing a major job on the political scene there. Very troubling. Anyway, another thing here that Charles Lester points out, and I thought is interesting, I wanted to share with you. He says here, Turkey's military moved in prefabricated modular units to add to the observation post in Idlib. He says, I'm also told that Ankara has informed National Liberation Front leaders of its plan to deploy air defense systems to reinforce the escalation and deter airstrikes. Turkey is trying to stop the Syrians from taking back their own land. Isn't that something? Now, Russia and Turkey are trying to work out their differences on this because Russia is backing the Syrian government, and the Syrian government is there to take Idlib back. So how much more land is Russia going to allow Turkey to annex and Assad get nothing? Now another thing too that's going on, and I don't know if I have this in a news article. Let me just see. Idlib offensive. No, I don't have this in an article. Russia is also has. They have moved in military police on the border of Israel. Now, how many people are going to be out there saying, I told you Russia's going to go against Israel and take it as the king of the north? No, Russia's not the king of the north. That's Rome. Mystery Babylon is the king of the north. But don't think that they're not loyal to the Vatican. Yes, he is. Anyway, Idlib offensive to have largest buildup of Syrian army troops. A full list of the troops here, according to the Lebanon News here, says that the Syrian Arab Army long-awaited Idlib offensive is just days away, but the latter continues to send thousands of soldiers to this front in preparation for the operation. According to the military sources in Damascus, the upcoming Idlib offensive is to be carried out by the largest Syrian Arab army force this war has seen. They're going to need it. Because believe me, there's a lot of jihadists over there in that region of the world. Very strange thing, turning our focus to the United States just for a moment up here in New Haven. Wow, a very strange thing happened. 60 people overdosed in the New Haven Park today, as visitors, as Fox News says, visitors watched in horror. Let me just share this with you here, this the images of this. Let me first get the volume turned down on it. But yeah, we have, they said that it was some type of marijuana that was synthetic that was being used, and the people began to hallucinate, they began vomiting, they became unresponsive, and died one after another, after another, after another, as many as 60 people in New Haven, Connecticut. That's serious. And you know what's really interesting is Big Pharma is getting a hold of this industry, you know, because they're really pushing this legalized marijuana use, and I know so because you know, I have major back injury there, and my own doctor was telling me that they're going to try to push this and have everyone go to using medical marijuana. Well, you know, you can't help wonder when they start talking about synthetic. This was a synthetic marijuana, according to what the reports are coming out there, and all these people are overdosing and dying from it. Makes you wonder if Big Pharma hasn't sent out some free samples. You know, me and my wife were watching a very interesting broadcast, and I don't know if it's based on true events or not, but it was very troubling because
Good to see you tonight, and breaking tonight, Paul Manafort's future now in the hands of the jury.
Thought they were going to show the Pope doing something here. I didn't expect that, but at any rate, very troubling situation the way the U.S. is going here. And, you know, today I was watching on RT, they were talking about socialism is growing in America. Well, that's what the Pope of Rome would love to see, socialism. Now, socialism's got its benefits, but it's also got its drawbacks. And, you know, the Pope would argue that Jesus, Yeshua himself, was a socialist. Yes. But I would much rather Yeshua run the program than I would the Vatican run it, because believe me, it wouldn't be that great. But it's really growing rapidly in the United States under the Democrats. I think it's like 57% of Democrats are wanting socialism now versus capitalism. You know, but to me, that when I saw those figures coming out today on an RT special there, I could not help but think this is the Vatican playing this up in America, preparing us for a New World Order. The New World Order is definitely going to be a socialist, fascist type of regime globally, and it's definitely nearing that place today. I wanted to play this, and I know I am not a fan of CNN at all, but this was very interesting right here. The White House just messaged the entire American intelligence community: if you stand up and say things that upset the president or with which he disagrees, he will punish you. That's what the former spy chief, Mr. Hayden, had to say here to Anderson Cooper there on CNN. Well, let me just tell you guys something. I'm not against President Trump on what he is dealing with in the intelligence community, because the corruption in the intelligence community is unprecedented in the world. I mean, you want to talk about corruption. The intelligence community's got more corruption than you could ever imagine. Well, I guess that you just give them time. It won't take them long. As soon as they figure out what I'm really up to and everything, they are going to distance themselves from me. They will make sure they tell you all kinds of lies and, oh, he never worked with us, all that kind of good stuff. That's why we're doing these meetings privately in the beginning. Then, when we put it out across the world, I want to make sure that it is a media blitz that really brings out the truth about what is going on in this government. I can tell you right now, though, I've already spoke to 3 law enforcement officials that were involved in cases that I knew about. They didn't take my past very lightly at all. And in fact, opening up one case in particular to try to bring justice at such a late hour. Anyway, guys, listen, a lot of things going on, and we're going to be getting you guys up to date. I thought this was a very wonderful story here. The SDF rescues another Yazdi family from ISIS militants. I always like to see the Yazdi girls when they're being rescued. So many of them were kidnapped by ISIS militants there, forced into sexual slavery, and it has been a tragedy for the Yazdi women in the Yazdi community across Syria. They are originally from the Iranian province, but these are the people that are known to be descendants of the wise men. that actually came and visited Jesus at his birth there. The three wise men that we often hear are the Magi that we are referred to. It is believed to be that the Yazdis are their descendants. So I've always had a heart specifically for them. But anyway, going back, just as a reminder, don't forget the conference there, September 14th and 15th. It will be a blessing. I'm sure it will be for you guys. Stand for the ministry. Please support the work we're doing, IsraeliNewsLive.org. And also to let you know, me and my wife are talking seriously about trying to reach every state in the Union on these conferences. We are really taking it very seriously. Some of these places that we will visit, we may not be able to give you enough advance notice because we are limited on funds to be able to finance these things up front ourselves. For example, in Orlando, it was very, very expensive to be able to finance that event. But by the grace of God, the people helped to cover that cost afterwards. But we have to put the cost up front. And so we're very serious about trying to cover far more places here, mainly to get the people educated about what's really going on and things that I've not been willing to say here on YouTube as of yet because of the sensitivity of these things. Even Patreon is not a safe place. And those that were in Orlando, although I would prefer them not to say specifically the things that I spoke about there, but they could let you know, if you happen to know them, those that did come there, this is not a game. It's a very serious issue, and we've got to get the people educated on what's going on, so you can see how serious and how deep the corruption goes on in the U.S. government. It is both parties. Neither Republican nor Democrat is immune to the corruption. But I can tell you one thing in this event here: when you come to Lebanon, Tennessee, you will find out that what these alleged stories you hear about the Clintons have a very real ring of truth to them. You'll find out that what is generally called conspiracy is not as much a conspiracy as what you might have thought. Anyway, I'm Steve Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. I had something else on my mind to tell you guys, but for some reason it has slipped my mind this evening. God bless you. Thank you for watching. And don't forget, tomorrow morning we'll be working on the Patreon message. That's patreon.com/Israeli News Live. Erev Tov.